Hello and welcome to Contemporary Living. We are live. Yes, we are live, and thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you're with us here today because I know. Guess what's happening right now, you guys? The Oscars. And that's such a big deal, right? It's such a big deal. I just remember when I was younger, the Oscars, I mean, we used to plan our day around the Oscars and award shows and things like that. But I think as you mature, I like that word, as you mature, you start to realize sometimes there are more important things. And if you're here, you better believe this is a more important thing than the Oscars. Absolutely, absolutely. So what else you've got going on? Hey, the time change. Did you spring forward? Did you change your clocks? Because if you didn't, some of you are not catching us right now. But if you did and you're on here, yes, you are good to go. You are good to go for work Monday to get your day started. You are at the right time. We are on the East Coast in lovely Florida. Andre and I, we are in Florida. This is our last month. As you guys who watch us every Sunday, this is our last month of being snowbirds, and go head back to Illinois on April 1st. So looking forward to going back to be with family, and those are our really hardworking months. So getting ready to get in that grind. But it has been such a wonderful trip. We still got a few more weeks in the month of March. I'm so glad it's longer because we can enjoy the weather, because it's not going to be this sunny and warm when we get back home. But if you are watching, please like and share this program. Please like and share this program. And again, we thank you for your support. I am not going to waste any time. I am going to get right into it. Miss Kimberly Todd-Tullos is here with us today. I feel that contemporary living is really starting to hone in and focus on business more. And I'm so glad the business concierge, however you say it, is here with us today. Yes, Kimberly Todd-Tullos is a transplant from Boston, Mass, moving to Los Angeles in 1985. She's a graduate of Suffolk University. Her career includes Inc. magazine and FedEx. Now, as an entrepreneur, she serves the marketplace as a business solutions concierge, where she offers businesses affordable legal services, identity theft protection, and relationship marketing. All stuff we need as business owners, isn't it? She is also an ERC, Employee Retention Credit affiliate. There is another side to Kimberly. She is also an artist, and I know about that side to her as well. And, as an artist, she loves arts and crafts and has created her own greeting card lines. She loves early morning walks in the park, singing with her praise team at church, and is a lifelong student of learning and growing. Life continues to teach Kimberly the preciousness of time, the fragility of life, and the sacredness of relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Kimberly Todd-Tullos.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I'm so excited to exchange energy and conversation on contemporary living. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. What a bio. I mean, it just shows me you use both left and right sides of your brain. One side is business and the other side is creativity. So now tell us, how did you come to be? Because I always ask people, you weren't born a business solutions concierge, were you?
No.
So how do we go from FedEx to being a business solutions concierge?
What a great question. I worked for FedEx for 17 years and got laid off.
Ooh.
And that was a wake-up call to me that companies will always take care of themselves. And it was up to me to create something where I was always going to be able to take care of myself.
Right.
That's when I started getting away from the W-2 life and started thinking about entrepreneurship.
That is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. Now, you know, the one of the main questions is, what is a business concierge and what do you do? I love the title.
Well, I offer the marketplace different services in order to empower them. Like I
Mhm.
offer affordable legal services with Legal Shield, because as a business owner, you're signing documents, you might have a storefront. People will treat you different when they know you have access to an attorney, and you feel better about making an informed decision when you're able to talk with counsel. Identity theft is never going away,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
true.
you just do life differently when you have a private licensed investigator who's got your back.
Hmm.
And as
That
far
is
as our business, we're always wanting to get the business out there in front of people to find customers and to keep the ones that we have. And so I have the secret sauce to do that with a relationship marketing program. And
wow.
recently I got invited to look into the ERC program. And
Hmm.
when I saw what that could do to business owners, I was like gangbusters. I'm like, yes.
Right. I know I had mentioned that you're an ERC, an employee retention credit affiliate. So what is the ERC? I know it's a tax credit, right? But what is the ERC tax credit?
And the ERC, the Employee Retention Credit, is a program that's part of the CARES Act. We had the PPP loans, we had the EID loans, and then we had the ERC program. And it's set up to stimulate the economy. When it was first introduced in March 2020, it was so convoluted. It was hard for business owners to apply. There were so many rules. And so
Yeah.
this program has gone through 6 different changes in the last couple of years. And so
Wow.
it's easier for business owners to apply. They will allow you to apply even if you've had a PPP loan. And so whatever information business owners got 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's changed. It's changed.
Wow. So what made you just want to take a deep dive? Because I mean, like you said, everybody knew about the PPP loans and all the other loans, but ERC, I wasn't even familiar with. But what made you just want to take a deep dive
Oh
into
my gosh, this is
ERC?
life-changing information and life-changing money that
Wow.
business owners can get and be compensated because they did everything they could to retain their employees during the pandemic.
Yeah,
The
that is true.
IRS is offering up to $26,000 per full-time employee.
Wow.
Now they'll also accept part-time too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an exciting time to be in the marketplace and ask business owners, have you filed for your ERC? Because if not, I'm a trustworthy resource.
Oh, wow. Now, what about people who've been told by their CPA that you don't qualify, you don't qualify for that, or people they trust? Oh, don't apply for that because you don't qualify.
That is such a great question. And because ERC has gone through so many changes, the people that are actually telling you that you don't qualify haven't caught up with those changes. They're not up.
Mm,
And a CPA's wheelhouse is not payroll tax. It is not. The bottom line is the IRS is giving business owners money. It's not a loan, it's a stimulus check. And I'm looking forward
um,
to working with anybody who wants to get themselves some.
okay, now what else should I know about this credit?
Well, you have to have the documentation to go
Hmm.
through the process of applying for it. So basically, you got to show payroll proof that you paid your employees.
Yeah.
And for every one of those payroll records, that's how you get paid. And that's how they calculate how much you get paid.
Okay. Then who should look into this ERC credit to see if they qualify?
Every single business owner who has a W-2 employee from 1 to 500 should definitely look into this and look into it and have a sense of urgency, because just like the PPP, ERC is not going to be around long. I mean, if we do the rest of the year, we'll be lucky, because more and more larger corporations are going to get their stimulus. And so the pot of money is shrinking. And I'm just really excited to get out there and say, you should get yours too. You deserve it. You've worked hard. You've held on to your business during the pandemic. And whether you own a restaurant or a medical office or a veterinarian, whatever, if you have W-2 employees, you definitely could look into qualifying.
What if I had my food truck during the pandemic?
As long as you have a W-2 employee working in that food truck, you will get paid.
And that's full or part-time?
Full or part-time.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of businesses have a lot of part-time. A lot of them don't have a lot of full-time employees, but that doesn't mean that you can't apply, because again, the IRS is paying you for your payroll proof of what you have, and then they'll calculate how much you get.
Wow. So I know a lot of people have been getting in trouble with fraudulence of the PPP loans. We're seeing it now. Yeah. We're definitely seeing it now. So is there a lot of fraud with this credit, or yes. What do you know about that?
Well, what I know is there's a lot of people out there that want to help a business owner apply. And they're not always, they don't always have integrity in mind. And there's a lot of companies that are asking business owners to pay an upfront fee. No. See, that's an indication right there. If they're asking you to pay upfront a fee for you to actually apply for this, that's not right. That's something wrong there.
And you know how many businesses are popping up just all around? So many fraudulent businesses that are popping up. They'll have a business saying, yeah, we do that. But if they're charging you a fee up front, then it is not legit.
Yes. And thank you. And that's why I was so grateful to be on your show, just to be able to allow myself to be a trustworthy resource to help anybody who's, ready to get some money.
Right. Because when I look at this, if you had employees at any time during the pandemic, you need to apply. The payroll employees, you need to apply. What's the worst they can say? No. What's the greatest thing they can do? Cut the check, right?
I hear what you're saying, but there's a lot of resistance. A lot of people think it's a scam. And I'm like, the IRS does not scam. But there's a lot of baggage that people have if they got some information way back when and aren't up to date on all of the changes that it made.
Oh, wow. So how do you, like, say, for instance, you have a client that's a little resistant. They're like, they're listening to you. How do you quail that? How do you make them feel at ease?
I would get them on a Zoom on my website, and we would just go through 6 simple questions about their business and have the system give them a potential amount of money. And then I would say yes or no, because, no is simple. Do you want to go for it or not? Because if they want to go for it, then they have to go back and get, the documentation to be able to support getting that money.
Right. Now, how long does it take for you to process it with someone? And what's the processing time? I know you can't give like an exact time, but in general, what's the processing time from start to finish for an ERC or ones that you've processed?
That's a great question. And the bottom line is it really determines on the sense of urgency that the business owner has. Because the sooner they get all of the documentation, the application process is about 45 minutes. Now, once the company receives their application, it takes about 2 weeks for them to take everything, make it nice and pretty for the IRS, send it back to the business owner where they sign off, and then they file it. It takes 4 to 6 months to get paid.
Wow.
That's how backed
That
up
is
the IRS is in, giving the business owners their checks, their stimulus check.
wow.
4 to
Now,
6 months.
do you know if there's a difference in, how people applied for the PPP loan and the ERC? Like, is there a difference between the applying for it?
I'm not up to date on the PPP loan
Okay.
process
I don't
because
even
that's
know
a
if they're
loan.
doing PPP loans at this
No,
time.
that program's over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the program's over, and I'm not aware of that process. But I
Yeah.
know with the ERC, you get notified all the way that your application is getting processed.
Okay. Now, so is there a time period that you can claim? Is it just the pandemic, or how does it work?
That's a great question too, Melissa. You can go to the year 2020 and the year
Okay.
2021, and they're looking at every quarter. They want to know how many people you paid per quarter.
Hmm.
And, as long as you have the payroll documentation, it's really a slam dunk. So anybody who's a bookkeeper for a business or they have a payroll service, they can get you those records.
Now, I would imagine that big business, large companies are probably taking advantage of this too, perhaps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's
Wow.
why the money is shrinking every single day, because somebody is having such a sense of urgency. They want to get in line to get paid. And I
Wow.
just think that there's a business owners out there that may have not even heard of ERC, or maybe they got information 2 years ago and thought, oh, I tried to apply, and because I took a PPP loan, I wasn't able to. Back then, that was the rule. But now that's not so. It doesn't matter if you took a PPP loan, you can still apply for the ERC credit. So it's really important to just get educated and get all of the information. And I would love to get with business owners so that they can get the information and then make
Mhm.
their own informed decision.
Now you know how some business owners, they're like, well, I just need the link and I can apply for it myself. How would you advise a person not to do it themselves? Or
It's
would
too,
you?
it's too complicated. And here's the thing, if you make one small error and
Yeah.
send it to the IRS,
Well, that's the IRS. Yeah.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're going to do it yourself, that's what you're going to do. You're going
Yeah.
to, because you can go online. There's a lot of stuff out there about ERC. That's why I'm grateful to be on your show so that
Mhm.
I can get business owners a reputable, integritous company that not only has a tax team, but they have a legal team. So if
Mhm.
anything should come up and the IRS has to question you about it, you got a team behind you.
Oh, that is awesome. All right. So, what we're going to do is take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to have more on ERC, but I want to dive into the other business concierge services that you have. And I even want to go into your greeting card line as well. So, we will be right back with the business solutions concierge, Kimberly Todd-Tullos. We'll be back in a minute.
We'll be back.
back. So I want to ask you, are you qualified? Do you think you're qualified for ERC? And also, I want to talk about, there was something that I wanted to say. Oh, I always forget, you guys. Please like and share. Please like and share our page. And have you been thinking about the employee retention credit? Do you qualify for it? Are there any questions? And we're going to bring on Kimberly back again to talk a little bit more about it before we switch gears. All right, so bring on Kimberly. Hey!
Hey!
Because I'm going to switch gears, but is there anything else we should know about ERC? Is there something else you wanted to
I
let
just
us
want to
know?
share a story. I want to share a
Sure.
story.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
A mid-sized construction company applied for ERC, and they were just amazed about how much money they were going to get. It's a mid-sized construction company. It was life-changing because they were in debt with the IRS.
Oh, wow.
And that credit, poof, their whole debt was taken care of, and they still had money to pour back into their company. This is a life-changing situation that has a narrow window of time. And I'm looking forward to working with anybody who has a sense of urgency and wants to get what they deserve, because they worked so hard during the pandemic to keep their company.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Yeah, I mean, hats off to those who did work hard to keep their businesses open. I mean, that was a time in history that we will never forget.
True. That's true.
Hopefully, we don't have to experience that again, but I don't know.
So I am looking to get a foot in the mind of a business owner about ERC.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that foot. But I want to talk about some other things that you do as
Okay.
as a business concierge. The legal part. Tell us why we need legal.
Well, you want to have a law firm in the palm of your hand. Why? Because you want to be protected and empowered. Because stuff is always going on the rails sometimes. You buy a TV and it don't work, and you got to bring it back. You subscribe to a service and you don't get what you should. And there's a conversation that you have to have. And it's so much easier when you have Legal Shield, when you have a legal service. Yeah. Because you can simply calmly say, is that the way that you want to handle it? Or you can say, please tell me the name and the number of who my attorney needs to contact, and we'll handle it that way. I'll tell you this, when people know that you have access to what's fair and what's right, it changes everything. It changes the whole atmosphere.
Yeah. And we live in a society that loves to, like, I just remember someone just suing because he sued a cleaners. This was a long time ago. He sued the cleaners because it's something about his pants or something. I mean, just the most, what I think, apparently it wasn't frivolous to him. What I think was even the most frivolous things, or things you just don't expect, especially in business, things that you don't expect, you can get sued. They will sue you for.
Yeah. Do you know the United States is known as Sue SA? Yeah. Yes.
Are you serious?
I went to a local restaurant that, makes the best blueberry pancakes. And I had some Legal Shield information, and I spoke to the owner, and she said, oh, where were you last year? She said, I had an employee that stayed out all night, got drunk, came into work and supposedly fell, sued me and won, because she didn't have access to, to an attorney that could help her.
Wow. Wow.
We sign things all the time, and now we even sign them digitally. But do
Oh
we know
yeah,
what we're signing? Do we
absolutely.
read
I
the
mean,
fine print?
guilty, because you know how you're trying to just hurry up and get to what you need. You're like, okay, I agree. Do and we don't even know what we're signing. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So now, how long have you been doing that? Just
I've
is
been
it
doing
just?
Legal Shield since 2005.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Oh
and
wow.
it's been a wonderful experience, especially helping families get the will, because that's something
Mm,
that's always in the back of your mind. You know
yeah.
you've got to get it done, but you don't. Why? Because of the cost, you know?
Yeah.
And with the Legal Shield membership, the will and the power of attorney is complementary with the membership.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is really wonderful. So businesses, I mean, so it's not just for businesses, it's for personal use as well.
Exactly. Because you got to, a business owner needs to be protected personally as well as his business. Because if
Mhm.
somebody wants to sue you, they'll go after your home. They'll go after whatever you got. So, yeah, it's a holistic membership.
Oh wow. Okay. So now let's switch hats to our personal side. Let's talk about your greeting cards. This is one that I received. Andre and I received on our anniversary, and I just thought it was just the most beautiful card. You guys see on the back, Melissa and Andre, what was, still is, happy anniversary. So,
Yes.
so, so tell me how you got there. I'm interested in knowing that.
Melissa, I was creating something as soon as I could pick up a crayon. I was
Wow.
always into creating something and making something and having it have a message.
Hmm.
And you haven't actually got one of my fabric art cards, but one is on the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started out with fabric art cards by Kimberly, but I couldn't generate the quantity. I didn't have the capacity to make 100 birthday cards or 25 thank you
Right.
cards or whatever. And I got involved in this marketing company, and it has an incredible software program
Uh-huh.
with all the bells and whistles so that I could, as an artist, go in and create. I can actually make something 3D and all that. And I can take a picture and upload it, and I can create my own digital line, my own line that I can send out. And that gives me a little relief so that I'm more creative on the fabric art card side, because I've got
Hmm.
everyone covered with the other greeting cards. So I just think that we live in a world today that's so microwave age that,
Yeah.
you expect somebody to answer your text in 3 seconds. Really?
Yeah.
You send an email that could get buried in 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
if you really want to show appreciation or give a thank you or even a happy birthday, you'll do a card. You'll send a card, because look,
Hmm.
no one's expecting anything good in the mail. Bills and junk mail. Bills and junk mail. When
That is,
you send
uh,
something in the mail and somebody goes to the mailbox to get something that you sent them,
yeah.
you interrupt their day. You interrupt their pattern. You interrupt everything, their day, their mood, their smile. You interrupt it and you lift them up. And here's another thing, too. When you communicate with somebody with a card,
Hmm.
they can wait until they're fully able to receive what that card says. You can text somebody and they may not be in the mood.
That's true.
You can email somebody and they just may not have the time.
Hmm.
But when you send somebody a card, they can, because I've gotten text messages from friends that said, you sent me a card and I held on to it. And then
Hmm.
something happened and then I remembered and I got it and it was just what I needed at that time.
Hmm.
That's huge.
So
So,
now, how do you how do you balance? I mean, you've got several businesses going on here, from the sounds of it.
yes.
How do
And
you
here's the thing
balance?
though,
How do you balance
for
that?
so many years, Melissa, when I was just doing Legal Shield, I had
Yeah.
I had a ingrown self-limiting belief that that was all I could do and do it well. And
Ah,
then I had an experience where I just simply asked the question. It's like, who said that? Who made up that rule? And that's when I was open to other things that came my way that I fell in love with. So it's like, no, I don't have to ditch my Legal Shield business. I've been doing that for close to 18 years and I have great clients. I
right.
use my marketing program to love on them and let them know that they're valued and that I care about them and that they do make a difference. And then with this ERC thing, it's just a limited time that I'll be doing this, because seriously, this program will be over soon. So I wanted to see what I could do to create some wins for some businesses.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Now, how can we contact you?
you can text me at 818-402-8514. That's 818-402-8514. You can send me a text and we can talk and set something up.
So
And
you said 818-402.
8514.
I'm going to run that. I'm going to scroll that on the ticker really quick. So yes,
Just
let's
want to get a foot in your mind.
try it here. 818-402-8514. Getting that foot in your. Now, what does that represent? A foot in your mind, because
Well,
a foot is huge.
I'm saying a foot in your mind, but really I send this out with a card to a company and say, I just want to get my foot in the door. And it
Ah,
makes them laugh. And if you make somebody laugh, you at least got in.
that is so true. That is
Marketing,
so.
great marketing.
I know. So you love marketing.
I love marketing. I love promoting. I will tell you, I'm going to use this piece and promote your show. I am so excited. I'm so excited because you are, and folks, I don't know if you knew this. I just found this out. This woman served in the military 20 years, and we thank you for your service. Yeah, there's
No
something
problem.
about the way that you connect with people and you want to exchange energy and conversation to benefit
Yeah.
others. And that's what your
Yeah.
show does, you and Andre, your husband. And I'm excited. I'm in. I'm all in.
So tell us once again, ERC stands for,
Employee retention credit.
and what
You you
what does it do?
deserve
Yeah, give me that spill. Yeah.
you deserve to get paid for maintaining the payment of keeping your employees on the payroll during the pandemic. You just deserve it. So you got to, how bad do you want it? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Because the
So
pot's shrinking.
so the questions that I always ask is, where do you see yourself? What is your next thing? I don't want to ask, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? That might be limiting you. So where do what's your next thing?
I think it's having a message that I'm taking to younger people.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the track to do a TED talk, and then my neighbor invited me to her son's school, Delphi Academy, to do a presentation on Black history. And I found that exchange of energy and conversation with the students remarkable. And again, I busted a self-limiting belief because I didn't think I could talk to kids because I don't have any.
Right.
Boom. So it was such a breakthrough day for me. It really got me thinking. And then I have another friend who's a principal, and she invited me to her school, and I spoke, and I'm like, maybe what I want to say and convey and encourage is to 5th and 6th graders. I don't know, but that is percolating right now. And I'm in prayer about that because, I was on one track because I am a Toastmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, maybe that's not it. Maybe it's not a message for adults. Maybe it's a message for kids that are in middle school and high school that, they are filled with untapped potential, that they have so much going on. There's so many gifts inside of them. They haven't even figured it out, but to give themselves a chance and to edify them that they are valuable. They count, they matter, they make a difference.
And they so need to hear that. They so need to hear that.
So that's what I'm percolating on, and yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now, if you can leave our audience with some advice, go ahead. Tell us what that advice would be. Anything you want to say, whether you want to put it in a story or however you want to put it.
I would say that life is precious. It is fleeting. We aren't promised tomorrow. And so whatever you're going to do it with such a sense of urgency that it gets done. I know what gets planned gets done. And I know that a lot of times we talk about, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go there. I'm going to visit. I'm going to travel. But we don't. But after all that we went through from the pandemic, it's really crucial that you understand that now is the most powerful and the only time that you have. It is now o'clock. It's now o'clock.
I love it. It's kind of like in your intro, you talked about the preciousness of time, the fragility of life, and the sacredness of relationships. I mean, that it just resonated with me so much. And what it does, you just kind of solidified it by saying the time is what'd you say?
It's now o'clock, baby.
It's now o'clock. And that's one of the things, like for instance, you're talking about ERC. That thing, the time limit is closing in. You know, we always put off things and procrastinate and wait, and then, oh, the window closed. You could have had thousands of dollars poured back into your business. So it's very important that you guys contact Kimberly Todd-Tullos about ERC and finding out whether you qualify. Like she said, if they're asking you for money up front, they're a fraud. They are a fraud. But I just want to thank you for just being a part of the show today. This was very valuable information. And as we lean toward the business track, it was just a delight to have you come impart and share your knowledge about ERC. So thank you so much. And guess what? This won't be the last time we'll be seeing you at all.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And I really appreciate you having me on the show and giving me one foot in the mind of people.
I love that.
Out there. And you know what? Small business is the core of our economy. It is
Absolutely.
The core of community. It is the core of how people achieve and give and serve and come together. And I just want to do what I can to promote and encourage and empower and whatever it takes.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put your number if you need to contact Kimberly. There is her number, 818-402-8514. That's 818-402-8514. Again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on Contemporary Living Live. We didn't get any questions, so you're okay with that. All right. See you next time.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. It's just us, you guys. Wasn't that great? If you are interested in learning more about ERC or knowing about it or seeing if you qualify, I implore you to get in contact with Kimberly because it's very important. Don't lose out. Don't leave money on the table. Just like I did for the promotion of this, do not leave money on the table. You may qualify and not even know it, but the only way to find out is to find out. So talk to people who know. And Kimberly Todd-Tullos is a person that knows about ERC. So now we have a little time together. I just want to take a minute to acknowledge Women's History Month. Happy Women's History Month, you guys. And for 2023, I've really committed to posting something on Facebook and LinkedIn on my social media pages. So, every day of the month of March. So I post about women who have really, made a difference, who have, made a difference in society, made a difference in culture, made a difference in life. in life, period. And in doing my research, I was just surprised to learn so much. So we all know about the Rosa Parks story. You learned it probably when you were in school as well. But what I didn't know when I did my research about Rosa Parks was the reason why, because we also know that there are so many people that were already, refused to get off the bus and things like that. But what made Rosa Parks so special was her connection to community. In her community, she was involved in so many different organizations. When they found that she had been taken to jail, everyone wanted to just come together. And to this day, that's why she's known as the mother of the civil rights movement. So just learning about that little piece about Rosa Parks really was interesting. And then another tidbit was during the World's Fair, I wrote about architects. So during the World's, there was some type of contest for architects where they offered the women $1,000 if they won, and they offered the men $10,000 for the same freaking contest. So if you're a woman and you won the contest, you got $1,000. But if you were a man, you got $10,000. So that's very interesting. We've come a long way, baby. I can't say we've come a long way. And but it also, on the other hand, as I, go through this Women's History Month, it was also refreshing to see the Eagles quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and his all female dream team, baby, from his manager to his agent to his communication teams. It was just so refreshing to see. And it just showed, we are seriously, as women, making some progressive strides, in certain areas. But then, and as much as we're winning, we're also losing in some aspects. Can I just be real? We're also losing in some aspects, especially in the areas of relationships with one another. Yeah. There are a lot of women who have come to a point in their life where they just don't want to be around other women, or they believe they have to compete against other women, or they just don't feel like they're in a safe space being in the presence of other women. Now, this may not be for you, but for those who I'm talking to, I'm talking to. And the funny part is, I'm not even talking about young girls. Like sometimes, you can say it's a phase. You're 20, you're in your teens, late teens, you're in your early 20s. I'm talking about women in their late 30s, their 40s, they 50. I'm talking about older women, mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers, who have lived long enough, seemingly where they could have, experienced or at least had the opportunity to cultivate some phenomenal relationships, to have someone there who can really kind of lift them up or just be an ear to listen. But the people that I'm talking about that are involved in it, it's a sad state of affairs, and we got to do better. We can't do better because we're women. So, when you get to a point, like I said, when you get to a point where there are more days behind you than in front of you, because quiet is kept, everyone's not going to live to see 100. We don't know. You don't know when your time is going to come. But let's fix that. Let's work on our relationships with other women. This time to, let's not mask it. Let's speak our truth. Let's talk to our mothers and daughters and nieces and grandchildren, about the things that we need, and have an open conversation about the things that they might need that we might not be giving to them. So let's cultivate better relationships. That's really what I wanted to talk about. And I've got a couple of things that you can work on. First of all, how's your relationship with God? Because if your relationship with God is pretty tight, for lack of a better word, I think you can be gifted with discernment. So you'll know who to rock with and who not to rock with, So how's your relationship with God? Let's take a look at that. How's your relationship with yourself? That's another thing you can look at. Are you celebrating you? Are you caring for you? Are you doing what you have to do for yourself? Are you giving yourself grace? Because sometimes we need, a little grace. And one thing that I do realize is that energy, the thinking and feeling will always attract. You're gonna always attract some things that that are in line with it. So if I'm feeling low, if I'm feeling depressed, and I'm feeling not positive, I probably get some people in my life that are doing the same, because misery loves company. So just make sure that you're aware of yourself. Make sure you're celebrating yourself. Make sure you're doing the things that you need to do for yourself, so you can stay upbeat and positive. Not that upbeat and positive has to be 100%, because sometimes we need that little downtime to just feel how we feel. It's okay to be not okay sometimes. But the third thing is, do you practice being a good person? That matters too. If you want a good friend, you have to be a good friend. Are you being a good friend? So that's another thing you have to ask yourself. And then if you have any type of jealousy within yourself, how do you turn that into compliments? If Because everybody gets a little jealous sometimes. Are we keeping it real, right? Everybody gets a little jealous about something sometimes. I'm not telling you what you're jealous of, but learn to deal with that jealousy and not spew it out as obvious and make it obvious to the world that you're jealous. So learn to deal with that. And then practice being your authentic self more. Like I said, remove the mask. One thing that I'm in a fellow with dog tag, and one thing that we're learning is, in order for us to run successful businesses, you got to be who you are. So you have to be authentic, because you can't spend most of the time trying to be this fake person and run a business at the same time. That's why you have to be you. But in order to be you, you have to find out who you are. Some people don't know themselves. So practice being authentic. And then I think the last thing was, I got it right here. Yep. Test it out. Test it out in your circle. When you got bad news, do people genuinely listen? Or does your bad news all of a sudden become something you're talking about them with, about their own situation? So you wanna listen to that. You want to have genuine people in your life. I am so blessed to be surrounded by women and men who are really genuine. They listen to me. They are honest with me, and they're encouraging. So that's not happening all over. And then you can see it really all over social media as well. But you don't have to participate in that. So I just wanted to leave that with you for this weekend. Make sure you just surround yourself with people who give you more and don't deplete as much out of you. Sometimes you do have to give, but make sure they don't deplete everything out of you. You want people who can truly reciprocate what you're giving. All right, that's all I wanted to talk about. And as always, we thank God for his favor, his grace, and his blessing that we receive every day. And as believers, we know that Christ died, he was buried, and rose again on the third day for our justification. And I encourage you to grow deeper in your faith and your confidence in God as you continue to evolve as a person. That's so important to do, especially in 2023. It's going to be a showdown, y'all. You got to know what side you're going to be on. But on behalf of myself and my husband, Mr. Andre Hill, on the ones and twos in the background, we thank you for watching. And as always, be brilliant, be you, be blessed. See you in 2 weeks.